There are many videos on YouTube that cover components in Grim Dawn to an advanced level, however very few of them discuss the absolute basics. This guide is for players who are new to Grim Dawn, who have played for a while but are still not using components through leveling and even at endgame. I openly admit I played for a long time without using them myself, but I've now learned the error of my ways, and so this guide should enlighten those of you who are still in the dark about how good they actually are and how they can genuinely affect your builds. I will cover the basics and finish up with some quick tips at the end. First of all, what actually is a component? A component is an item that can be added to armor and weapons, but not relics, that enhances that piece of equipment. Each component will let you know what equipment it can be applied to and the effects for doing so. For example, a polished emerald will add 8 physique, cunning and spirit and can be applied to shields, offhands, rings, head and chest armor. So, where are components found? Literally everywhere in the game. They will drop from monsters, chests, unbreakable items, etc. There are some components that drop in specific places only in the game, or at least have a far higher chance of dropping in those places, but they are everywhere. Some components will have to be made by the blacksmith in the game, so these recipes will have to be found out in the wild as quest rewards or bought from faction vendors at the various safe havens in the game. So why use components at all and not just focus on the items and the statistics on those items? Simple. You will be extremely hard pressed to find gear that grants you the statistics you want for your build without compromising something. For example, you may find an item that grants you that increased DPS you've been looking for, but swapping it out may lose you a load of resistances that you cannot afford to lose at this time. Components can help you plug that gap and ensure you're always at your best. When leveling, components can be so powerful that even poor gear can be made especially useful by using them. For example, adding a chipped claw to a weapon will increase its physical damage by 4 and even apply a 12% physical damage bonus too. That may just make that weapon you have not found a replacement for all the better for a while yet. Some components can not only enhance your statistics but also grant abilities to use too. The aforementioned chipped claw will also add the slam ability to your character. It is really worth looking at all the abilities from components, as just one of them might make your leveling experience or even your endgame build even better. There are 6 components that are usually recommended you look for when leveling. They are the Runestone, Silk Swatch, Mark of the Traveller, Unholy Inscription, Anti-Venom Salve and the Wardstone. The ones you will use will depend on your character of course, but they are all really useful and should be utilised where possible. And finally, here are 3 quick tips for components. Number 1. To know if a component can be used on an item, equip that item that does not currently have a component against it and mouse over it. This will highlight in your inventory or your stash all usable components on that item. If the item tooltips get in the way, just hold control for a moment to hide them. Number 2. The inventor can be used to remove components back of older items that you no longer require, so you can safely use and should use components whenever you can, knowing you can get them back if required. Doing this will destroy the item however, so just make sure you want to do that. And number 3, although it's not really a tip and more general advice, there are a lot of components in the game, and so I strongly advise taking the time to learn about them and which ones you want to use. It would definitely be worth your time as your characters would be all the better for doing so. So that is my extremely basic advice on Grim Dawn components. Do you have any advice for new players about components that you can share? If so, put them in the comments down below and I would love to read them. Thanks everyone, and as always, stay safe.